An ordinary Saturday morning. An Italian square, coffee, sunshine, people walking. And if you look closely, if you truly look, you realize that something has changed. Not in the architecture, not in the sky, not in the plane trees filtering the light. It has changed in the arms, in the ankles, in the collarbones, in the calves. Wherever there is a centimeter of visible skin, there is ink. The 16-year-old girl with a flower on her wrist. The 65-year-old gentleman with a Latin phrase on his forearm. The mother with a mandala between her shoulder blades. The lad at the cafe with something on his neck that resembles a medieval seal. The grandmother, yes, even the grandmother, who has had something etched onto her ankle in memory of someone or something. Everyone has had their skin marked. Everyone has paid someone to prick them for hours with a needle dipped in ink. Everyone has endured real, physical, persistent pain. And everyone, at least once, has risked something, an infection, an allergic reaction, a crooked scar. All of this to look like something. But to look like what, exactly? To look special? To look free? To look different? There is a story that tattooing carries with it, and it is not the one you think. It is not the story of the Maori warrior carving his face to declare his rank. It is not the story of the sailor bearing on his skin the ports he visited, the storms he survived. Those stories exist, certainly, but they are distant, they belong to other worlds, to other logics. The story tattooing carries in the Western world is older and more uncomfortable. In ancient Greece and Rome, slaves were tattooed. A mark, not an ornament. A sign that said, this body does not belong to the one who inhabits it. Gladiators were tattooed, men condemned to kill one another for public entertainment. Criminals were tattooed, outlaws, those whom society had expelled and wished to recognize at a glance. Marked skin was the boundary between those inside and those outside. It was a punishment carried for life. A visible sentence. Permanent as granite, exposed like a gravestone. Pirates brought it back into fashion. Then American prisoners. Then gangs, bikers, the marginalized. There is a thin, unbroken line that runs from the Roman slave to the 20th century convict. And that line passes through marked skin. And yet today, and now that everyone is tattooed, this history has vanished. Erased. Buried beneath a layer of marketing and personal storytelling. Some call all this rebellion. And here there is something extraordinary, something worth looking straight in the face without blinking. When everyone rebels, what remains of rebellion? Imagine a crowd. 100,000 people in a square. And all carry the same banner. All shout the same cry. All wear the same symbol on their skin. Some would call this revolution. I call it conformity. Conformity has always worked like this. It convinces you that you are choosing, while it makes you wear the uniform. The uniform may be a grey tie or a tattoo on your neck. The form changes, not the substance. In both cases, someone else has decided what you must wear to belong. There is a difference, though. You can take off the tie in the evening. The tattoo, that remains. It remains at 30 when it seemed perfect. It remains at 50 when you have changed everything you thought you were 3 times over. It remains at 70 when the skin folds and the image that once seemed powerful becomes something you barely recognize. Permanence was the slave's punishment. It has become the free man's choice. Something does not add up. There is more. There is something that concerns aesthetics, and aesthetics are serious business. There exists an aesthetic of ugliness. It is not a recent invention. Every era has had its devotees of the torn, the deformed, the deliberately ungainly. But what has changed in recent decades is that this aesthetic has become dominant. It is no longer the provocation of a few, it is the taste of many. The scar as ornament. The wound as decoration. The mark that once meant degradation is now displayed as distinction. This does not happen by chance. It happens because somewhere, within the culture we breathe, an idea has taken root. That beauty is suspect. That elegance is empty. That care for oneself is vanity to be condemned. And that ugliness, the raw, the blunt, the brutal, is authentic. Is real. As though beauty lies and ugliness always tells the truth. But well-kept, unmarked skin does not lie. It says something too. It says respect. It says restraint. It says that you do not need to carve words onto your body because the words that matter are spoken with your eyes, with your posture, with your voice. Ask anyone who has had a tattoo why they did it. In the vast majority of cases, the answer will be one of these. Because I liked it. Because I wanted to remember something. Because it represents a part of me. Genuine answers, certainly. But also answers that do not go all the way down. Why did you like it? Where does that taste come from? Who shaped it? How many hours of Instagram, how many images of influencers, how many photographs of tattooed bodies in glamorous poses have built within you that preference you call your own? Taste does not arise from nothing. It is always the sediment of something you have seen, heard, absorbed. Sometimes it is real culture, layered over centuries of beauty. Sometimes it is marketing. The question is which of the two? When millions of people make the same choice convinced they are being original, someone, somewhere, has done their job very well. They have built a desire, packaged it as freedom, and sold it. And they have bought it. With their skin. The true gentleman, and I use this word without irony, without empty nostalgia, has no need to carve anything into his skin to say who he is. Not because he follows a rule. Not because someone told him to. But because he knows the body is already enough. That clean skin is already eloquent. That the way you occupy space, the way you shake someone's hand, the way you lift your eyes when a person enters the room. That says everything. He needs no manifestos. He needs no symbols stitched or carved onto himself. He knows that identity is not worn on the skin, it is inhabited. He does not judge those who are tattooed. He does not pity them, he does not condemn them. He simply feels no need. And that silence, that non-gesture, is more eloquent than any design. There is a subtle freedom in not having to prove anything. In not needing your skin to speak in your place. The skin is the final boundary between us and the world. It is delicate, it is alive, it changes with us each day. It ages with grace or with distress, depending on how we have treated it. To carve it is an irreversible choice in a world that is always changing. Perhaps that is the real issue. Not the tattoo itself, but the idea that there is something, an image, a word, a symbol, certain enough, true enough, eternal enough, to deserve being carved into the body forever. Perhaps true elegance is precisely this, the courage to remain open, not to carve, not to fix, to move through time without marks, light, whole, with all your skin still available, for what is yet to come.